So, I wanted to talk about intention. I think a lot of people don't really know what their intentions even are. If you generally think about what you're doing, do you really know why you're doing it? Do you really truly understand what it is in your subconscious mind that drives you to do what you do? I know that I personally didn't until I started to kind of reflect on it. I think a lot of people really just have this kind of autopilot program that they have been on for a very long time, probably unknowingly, and it just kind of drives their every action without questioning it. I think it has a lot to do with how you're raised. I think it has a lot to do with the people you hang out with. I don't think that anyone ever really evaluates and questions, am I living a life that I chose? Am I performing actions of my own choosing? Or am I doing things because I'm programmed to do that? Programmed to act a certain way, to be a certain way, to do certain things with certain people. I think a lot of people don't really reflect on it. Maybe I reflect on it too much. I was just kind of thinking about it earlier today. I was doing something and I was just kind of thinking, like, what part of me is doing this because it's just habit? What part of me is doing this because it's just normal? And what part of me is actually consciously choosing the action that I am choosing? You know, so much of our lives is like very autopilot. You go to work without really thinking a second thought about it. You go the same route, you do the same thing, maybe eat the same breakfast, maybe you have the same routine. I don't think many people really look at their lives, or even take a look at themselves and ask themselves, where is my conscious thought in these actions, in these things that we do? And I think it's important to take a look at it, because if you want to do things differently, you have to program yourself in a different way. If you have only been eating fast food and junk food and et cetera, like your whole life, you have to program yourself to eat in a healthier manner. You have to program yourself, to exercise or to do something of that sort. And people only will do things like that. They'll only take an analysis when they feel like something is really bad, or if something is just like, really, really, really apparent. But what I'm talking about is, why are we not doing that for everything? Maybe not every little thing. I'm not saying you need to analyze the way you brush your teeth or use the bathroom, but there's just so many things that I think people have just been, maybe it was told to them, or it was, shown to them, maybe as kids or teenagers or whatever, and people have just kind of gone along with it and not really questioned why. I think I probably question why a little too much, but I think we're all just very programmed to do certain things a certain way and to not really ask a lot of questions and to just go with the flow, when maybe this flow isn't something that we actually really wanted. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like, school, grades K through 12, you're all just taught a certain thing. You're told to do a certain thing in a certain way, and you're not really questioned why, and eventually, you don't really question why, and eventually it just becomes habit. And I think, honestly, it's probably a big part of why we are the way we are. I mean, since you're a child, you're essentially taught do things a certain way, in this order, in this format, and don't question it. And it becomes a very subconscious thing that I think a lot of us take into adulthood. We don't ever really think about the fact that, oh, hey, now we're adults and we can actually think for ourselves. We just continue to think what other people have taught us to think. I think that's definitely a problem with schools, but I'm not even going to get into that. That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, I invite whoever is watching this to just take a look at the actions that you do, the thoughts that you have, the programming that you've just kind of been doing on autopilot, and ask yourself, are these conscious thoughts? Are these conscious things that I wish to do? Are you consciously hanging out with the people you want to hang out with, or are you just around them because you haven't really thought about it and you've just been doing things with people that you've known forever and haven't questioned these relationships? Are you doing a job that you don't really want to do, or you're just conscious, you're just unconsciously there because you don't really have any other thing to do, or you haven't given any thought about who you are now? Does this environment still suit you? Do these actions still suit you? Is your current path of evolution still something that you want? Evolution is like a tree, you know, it's like everyone starts in the same way. You all start as a root, we all do, but it branches, you know, any which one of these branches can lead to any which way. You can always choose another branch. Don't feel stuck in your old ways. Don't feel stuck in that programming that you've probably been unconsciously following this whole time. I'm speaking from experience. I followed things a certain way for a very long time, did things a very certain way for a very long time because I wasn't really aware that I could do things differently. I'd always done things like that. I'd always been that way. I was unaware that you could just simply use your free will as a human being and do things differently. No one taught that to me. I had to discover that on my own. But hopefully, if you're watching this, you don't end up like me and you can actually be a conscious human being and start making your own decisions. Now, hear me out. I will be warned that when you start making your own conscious decisions, people probably will start to look at you a little weird. They'll probably be like, what? You're not just going to do what everyone else is doing. You're not just going to follow the status quo without question. People will definitely start to look at you like you have two heads, but I promise you, when you actually really evaluate yourself and you truly, genuinely ask yourself, is this who I really am? You'll probably come up with a very different answer than what's subconsciously programmed into your head. It will probably make you act a different way. It will make you talk a different way. Whatever version that you consciously are choosing is naturally going to be different than pre-programmed subconscious stuff that was implanted into you who knows how long. So it's just a thought. I implore whoever is watching to just analyze your life. Is your life going the way you choose for it to go, or what was chosen a long time ago for you? Is your life something that you can actually wake up and say, I chose everything here consciously of my own volition, and it is completely self-directed by me? Not a lot of people can say that. I definitely can't say that, and I'm not blaming you, because my life still was, you know, a product of subconscious programming that has been indoctrinated into me like years ago. But, you know, I think it's time we all take a look at our lives. I think it's time we all take a look at what can change. And, you know, that takes strength. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of, you know, mental fortitude and, you know, spiritual fortitude to really go in and confront those things that no longer suit you and change them. And, you know, it's not an overnight thing. It takes months, years, decades even. But I think you'll be happier knowing that these things that you chose. It wasn't chosen for you. Even if it ends up a shit show, I would rather end up in a shit show that I chose than a perfectly ordained life that someone else chose for me. That's just me. Other people may disagree. I'm sure other people do disagree. But I believe in choosing our own destinies, no matter where that path leads. Even if it leads to a dirt road, I would much rather that be a conscious choice than lead to a golden palace that someone else drove you to. You know, it's just food for thought. But it was a random idea in my brain. I just wanted to get out there, out for discussion. Like pretty much all of these videos, they're just ideas that I have. And, you know, if you agree, if this maybe was a little bit thought-provoking for you and, you know, you might have something you want to discuss in the comments are always open. I reply to almost all of them. You know, just if you want to talk about it. If you say, oh, you're crazy, that's also cool. I would like to hear exactly how I'm crazy, still in the comments. And yeah, you know, it's been a good one. I really like topics like this. And, you know, I'll probably keep doing them because I think they're very interesting. I think they're thought-provoking. And I don't really see too much stuff like this around. So, you know, but also I do these for fun. So, but I don't want to yap too long. Write down in the comments if you feel like there's something that you could look at in your life and maybe change consciously, or maybe you have changed consciously and you are living that experience now. And just let me know down in the comments. And this is the end of the video. So you guys take care. See you later.